I have noticed that there's 5 traits that I can use to help them to understand their game that all different students and all different famous, well-known pickup artists can be kind of measured or gauged by to quantify their game. And then watching this video back at home, you can look at these 5 traits that I have here on my cute little notepad, and you can then evaluate your game as well. I'll explain what they are, but first of all, a word of warning. I really only started using these terminologies or these words to try to describe emotional phenomena or behavioral phenomena only within the last 3 or 4 months. So I'm not 100% sure if these words are as accurate as they could be. I know most of them are, but maybe some of them are a little bit all over the place. But you get the idea, okay? And I'm going to try to describe all of them properly. So you want to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong are you within these 5 traits? Anybody who's going out there to become a natural when it comes to picking up girls, you want to evolve to a 10 out of 10 or a very high level out of 10 on these 5 things. The 5 things are the following. Get a pen, write them down, put them in your smartphone, make a note, because these are the things you want to be aware of if you are this kind of person. So, number 1 is masculine. Can you yell? Can you hug? Can you escalate? Can you challenge, confront, be passionate, have strong eye contact? Can you command attention? Can you be sexual? Can you enjoy sexuality? Masculinity is number 1. Are you sophisticated? Do you like reading, learning, arts, culture, deeper conversations, second languages, things that are subtle and fascinating, art and beauty, all those kind of things? That's sophisticated. Are you intelligent is basically what I'm saying. Are you expressive, or how expressive are you? Do you share how you feel with the world? Do you take up space? Are you charismatic in your face? Do you know how to show how you feel with your hands? And can you physically interact with other people? Are you expressive? The next one, now it gets kind of subtle. Are you appreciative and aware of your surroundings, okay? Aware of your surroundings, or appreciative is probably the best word that I can use to describe this next trait. Now, appreciative means, can you validate others? Can you give validation to others? Can you acknowledge others' value to you? Can you acknowledge and learn something from others? Can you go through the world and be able to find a reason to enjoy the company of anybody that you meet? Can you be patient? This is also patience with people who are not as smart or as on the same level of you. Can you be understanding of people who have a different worldview to you, okay? That's appreciation, and that's really important because you can make people feel pretty. You can make people feel important. You can help to connect with, from cold approach, people from a different walk of life, demographic, or intelligence level, or beauty level, okay? So appreciation and being able to connect with people from an alternative mindset, that's important and a little bit hard to understand, but great minds, leadership minds can do that. Are you empathetic? Can you help others to understand how you feel about them? Can you say, I'm sorry, I understand, I know how you feel about me. I know you think that I'm crazy, but it's a Saturday night. Are you able to tell them that you're aware of how they feel about you? Do you have empathy, okay? Empathy is really important, so you have a connection, and then with that connection you can go forwards from that. So they were in the list of 5: masculine, sophisticated, expressive, appreciative, and empathetic. I'm going to make reference now to some of my students who I've had in the 4-week natural program there in London, because I use them as an example in the Social Encrypted program at www.socialencrypted.com, the forum. Some of those guys. I'm going to use some famous pickup artists from different pickup companies from all over the world. I'm going to use myself as an example, and I'll try to think of some like movie characters or well-known characters and how they would fit on this scale at the same time. So, in London, I had a Saudi Arabian guy, he's about 30 years old. His name was Johnny, okay? Saudi Arabian guy, that's not really his name, but that's what I'll say. And I remember that he wasn't that socially experienced. He was from a different culture. He wasn't very loudly spoken. But all those things were going on inside of his head. So he was a very sweet guy, and this is how he stacked up, right? He wasn't socially experienced or anything like that. In terms of masculinity, he was a 7 because he did command respect, and he was a kind of aggressive guy, an aggressive thinker, and he knew how to grab. Okay, I like that about this guy from London, my Saudi guy from London. He was sophisticated, but in terms of how others could understand how sophisticated he was only a 7 because when it came to being expressive, he was only really a 3. So all month, we worked on him speaking louder, speaking more, speaking with a better rhythm, speaking better in English as well, practicing English. In terms of it being appreciative, he was solid, he was a 5. Could have been more, but could have, as he practiced better communicating himself, he was better at articulating how he enjoyed other people's company. So in this particular guy's case, a limited expressing type of guy, he couldn't then be as sophisticated and be as appreciative, nor could he be empathetic. In fact, he was like a 9 out of 10 empathy, which was good because girls would love to date that guy and hang out with that guy, and he was like a good family man. But empathy, if it's not combined with masculinity, you can then become too much a permission boy, too aware of what's going on around you, too sensitive to other people's emotions, and then you become stifled. So that then led me to understand that I wanted to be, just in this guy's case, louder, clearer, and a little bit more patient with the girls that he was talking to instead of jumping out of set. That's like a regular student, regular, socially inexperienced, culturally different from the Western world in that case. And I'm referring to a lot of guys who are growing up speaking a different language other than English before they move into a place like the United States, Australia, Canada, England, or maybe even Central Europe. So let's go now and talk about some more high-profile pickup artists. And the thing is, I've got to be very sensitive about whose name I use here, but I'll start with myself as an example. And you know what? When it starts coming time to scoring and comparing one pickup artist to another, that's when things start to get a little bit, a little bit aggressive or sketchy or whatever. So I want to be really open and fair. I'm going to only reference the guys who I know very well and who I've learned a lot from and who I really, really, really respect in the game. So myself, when it comes to masculinity, when I want to be masculine, I can be loud, aggressive, lead, pick chicks up. I can be 9.5, 9.5, right? Sophisticated, love photography, love videography, love editing, love complicated systems in business. I want to think I'm between 9 and 10. Expressive, yes, I can be very fucking expressive, between 9 and 10. Appreciative, I would say that it's one of my stronger points. I love beauty, I love complimenting, I love enjoying other people. And empathetic, I'm very well aware of what's going on around me because I'm managing social programs all the days of my fucking life. So again, hopefully that's the high end, right? I'm a little bit subjective, so I'm not exactly sure where I fall, but I focus on these things as much as I possibly can. I would say my weakness might be masculinity, or might be almost laziness, I suppose, or almost less drive to get laid and more focus on the person, which I feel like gets me laid faster because the girl can game me. But I'm not that strong at making a strong masculine first impression. I prefer a mode of game where I kind of fly under the radar and keep it more chill and bring the masculinity later when I'm in isolation at a house party, a hotel, a bedroom, or whatever. So that's where I come into this. Now let's talk about Swiss-born pickup artist, known for international drama, and see where he falls on this scale. And if I was to judge, I would say here are the following things. I knew this Swiss-born pickup artist between the ages of 21 and 23, okay, so still kind of young. And in terms of masculinity, I would say he's a 9 out of 10, right? Loud voice, strong eye contact, sense of entitlement, good sexuality, but not strong in the gym, not athletic, that kind of guy, okay? So 9's a very, very strong score. Sophisticated, I would say is like an 8. He's kind of a straight to the point, direct, fucking around, whatever. Expressive, very expressive, okay? I would say almost kind of one-dimensional expressive, closer to the negative side. of the negative range of emotions, and not as positive and joyous and enjoying what's going on when he's in interactions. From what I saw, he would kind of go the more drama type of route with girls. So in terms of expression, I would say a 9. Again, really good. Appreciative, I would say that's kind of like not this guy's strong suit. He wouldn't be very interested in appreciating people around him or delving into that off the cold approach, but I know that in his relationships, he's very, very appreciative of the people around him, and he's great at working with them, working closely. But on the cold approach, I would say more like an 8, the weaker point of the scale, okay? Empathetic, again, not something that this guy's that interested in, maybe an 8. But again, not the something that he focused on, the Swiss-born dramatic pickup artist from a huge pickup company. A good awareness of what was going on around him, but very little regard for it on the cold approach in the scenarios that I saw. Let's now compare him to another guy, an American-born guy, based in California, day game expert, reputable as being boring, okay, day game expert, based in Las Vegas actually, from the California, Colorado region. Long hair, American dude, let's rate him. That guy is brilliant. I really rate that guy. I think he's one of the best in the industry. Don't want to use his name in case that company wants to attack me. But after working with that guy for years, I thought he was extremely masculine. The scale of 1 to 10, the masculinity, like a 9.5 out of 10, because he spoke slowly, good eye contact, deep voice, breaking rapport. He could command a presence that would have other people feeling nervous, and that in and of itself is masculinity. So that's like a 9.5. So you don't need to be loud to be masculine. You can command respect and presence to be masculine. With sophistication, this guy's a 10 out of 10. Loves the attention to detail, loves emotion, and you can see how bright he is just in the way that his eyes and his face works, and how bright he is in the way that he talks and communicates with his friends and the girls that he speaks to, and can command and be aware of what's happening in a social situation. Expressive, this is this guy's weaker point. His expression is quieter and slower and less dynamic than most pickup artists, and he's something like maybe an 8, still way better than anyone, and I think more capable of being expressive than so many people, but that's not his identity or what he's doing straight off the cold approach. So that's kind of changing his score. Appreciative, very high, 9.5. Empathetic, very high, 9.5. Right. So for an overall score of what, 9.25 or 9.5, very good. And that guy, he's like 30. Compared to the Swiss-born guy, he's getting like an 8.9 or a 9. Slightly better and different, and that's the reason why. Now let's look again. Let's look at a guy from California, Northern California, San Francisco, gruff, aggressive, very intelligent, well-spoken, Californian, mullet-bearing, all-American type guy. Okay, I love that guy. He's brilliant. Learned everything from him as well. Masculinity, 10 out of fucking 10 for that dude. Okay, he's awesome. Sophisticated. You wouldn't look at him and think he's sophisticated, but 5 seconds of conversation and he's socially a genius, academically a genius, brilliant writer, brilliantly spoken, very very diplomatically spoken, very clever in his delivery. 10 out of 10. So far, perfect score. Expressive, 10 out of 10. Appreciative. I think actually in this guy's case, his appreciation or showing of appreciation to others around him, giving compliments, enjoying them, showing others that they contribute to him emotionally is not his strong suit, because he really enjoys self-amusement, leading, being the center of attention. So he could afford to balance attention onto others on the cold approach. I'm talking like the first 30 minutes of an interaction, a little bit more. So maybe he's like an 8.5 or a 9 in that department. And with empathy, he's very strong, but also has a kind of a short fuse, right? So maybe a 9 when it comes to that. Overall, I think he's extremely brilliant, one of the best in the industry. Just a little bit of a short fuse sometimes, which does add to the masculinity, the unpredictability, the excitement, the expressiveness of that type of guy. So there's some former colleagues of mine, who I think are brilliant. And I now want to talk about like an archetype. Think of an archetype of like a French artist or an Italian wine drinking type of guy, like a Mediterranean European type guy. And they might be lesser masculine and aggressive. They may not even go to the gym. They might be like a food critic, but they're going to be full 10 out of 10 sophisticated, maybe only an 8 out of 10 expressive, more subtle and secretive, but very like 10 out of 10 on appreciation and 10 out of 10 on empathy, understanding other people. With this list of 5 things, masculine, sophisticated, expressive, appreciative, empathetic, when I reviewed my students from this Austin 4-week natural program yesterday after the first weekend, I had never done a kind of an evaluation like this on day 1 of a program or early on in the program. And what I discovered is most students were getting 7 for masculine, 8 for sophisticated, 6 for expressive, like 4 for appreciative, 8 for empathy. And that is the generic socially conditioned way of being, pretty much. And what we would have there, if you're getting a score that's somewhere between, say, 6 and 8, you're a boring, regular guy. Okay, you're regular, you're normal, you're comfortable, you're well-liked, you don't piss anybody off, and that's really not that exciting for anybody. What you want to do is straight away start becoming, or trying to become, a 10 out of 10 at one of these things. You could be extremely expressive and charismatic, and that will get you great attention from chicks. Or you could be super empathetic, super understanding, and super strong at connecting with other people and putting that into words, and you'll be the guy who everybody has a deep connection with. Or you could be very appreciative. You could love and value and put into words why you think everybody is great, stoke their ego, and put into words a deeper understanding of why they even like themselves. So if you do find yourself being pretty average across the board on those masculine behavioral traits, what I want you to do is think about your strong point and make that stronger, right? The guys from my former company, they all had different reputations being very strong in their different fields. When I look down the lens, it looks like there's a spider web, but it's actually just the light catching the lenses all on the inside. I'm like, the fuck? I'd never seen that before, my bad. Okay, here we go again. Let's get this done, then we can go to the mall, have a beer. Why do we work? So we can have a beer. Okay, so these 5 things, masculine, sophisticated, expressive, appreciative, empathetic, they are not skills that you can just execute straight away. Though they do take skill form, especially when I'm coaching a guy there in field. I'm like asking them to do something masculine or do something expressive or do something appreciative. I can ask you to do that and that can make sense instantly, but you'll find as you become more mature as a guy and get more experience, more abundance, these things grow automatically, and then they're gonna reinforce, and you're gonna walk around as, legitimately as a natural, thinking in these ways. But if you're struggling in your game, in your cold approach game, and you don't know how to put labels on the behavioral traits of the masculine, natural, expressive, sophisticated, appreciative type of guy that you're working on, these are what they are, and these are what I'm looking at when I look at different students. And if I see that a guy is not one of these things, then I want to get that up to a respectable level, so that score, that general score, is adding up to be on average over 8.5. And I really want a guy to be extremely strong in just one area. In my case, I want to be extremely strong at being appreciative of others, encouraging others, and enabling others, because that's not the angle that many guys go for. And I look like kind of a uneducated, rough around the edges, Australian convict type of guy who honestly didn't even graduate from university. Then I come across as being very appreciative and get into my sophistication of photography and development and beauty and cosmetics. And then they're like, oh my God, that guy stands out. And every guy is going to be a different story, be it charismatic or masculine or deeply sophisticated because of your love of art, wine, philosophy, or whatever. In fact, the head of Captain Redbeard, as he's colloquially known, his strongest point is his sophistication, his intelligence, his philosophy, his ability to communicate, his deep thinking. That, from what I saw, was what made him the most attractive. And when he would find himself talking casually to a girl at dinner or socially, when he wasn't going out and doing cold approach, that's when he was like, that's when I saw him at his best. That's when I was like, holy shit, these chicks are so cognitively turned on by this guy. It's fucking incredible. And I you know, if he gets into situations like that where he can do that more, play to his strong suit and move away from some of his lesser strong traits according to this list.